Good morning, happy Monday. I'm here. It's really nice to be here today. So we're gonna talk a little bit about how women can use our cycle to our advantage, especially when we're creating our business and when we have our own business, we have a little bit more flexibility. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Before we get started though, and while people are joining, I just wanted to have a little announcement. My free course, 5 Days to Build Your Business, is still available, so you can go to the link in my bio and get that. And also, this week, there's going to be a relaunch, so keep your eye out for that. It's going to be really, really, really cool. So, happy Monday. I hope you have your coffee like I do. I have been reading In the Flow by Alicia VT, which she of course doesn't like coffee or caffeine. And so, I don't know, I may be going off it, but that'll be another day. If I go off it, this will be a very different mood, but hopefully not yet. So anyway, let's talk about it a little bit. So, our cycles usually are about 28 days. And what's really amazing is the natural hormonal fluctuation that we have throughout, those 28 days or a month can be used to our advantage when we're building our business and in our life. And this is a practice that I've been using probably for about 1.5 to 2 years now. I first heard about it and learned about it from Nadine Lee over at Tantric Alchemy, but I've heard a lot of women talk about it since, including Alicia VT, and actually if you read her book In the Flow, she kind of talks about this as well. It's a really great resource for that. But essentially, because of our hormone fluctuation, there are times throughout the month where we just naturally have more time, have more energy. Now, if you are a woman who is going through menopause or postmenopausal, you can also use the lunar cycle to kind of stay on a 28 to 30 day cycle. It's a really nice practice because a lot of women do find that our cycles are synced to the moon, and so a lot of women like to continue that ritual going into menopause. So you can use that if you like. So like the new moon and the full moon, it's a really cool practice. So so those hormone fluctuations. Now I could try and tell you what the hormones are. I'm not going to, because I'm not a scientist, and I know it's like estrogen, progesterone, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know that much to feel confident to say it on Instagram. So so what happens is we have 4 phases, right? I actually have right here on my refrigerator, I have the phases. So there's 4 phases. Now the follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and menstrual phase of our cycle. Now it's funny because even within the kind of natural alternative health movement for women, there's discussion as to when is the beginning of your menstrual cycle. I listened to a podcast yesterday and they were saying that it's the first day of your bleed is the first day of your menstrual cycle. Whereas Viti in her book, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. She says it's the follicular phase, which is the phase right after you menstruate. That's my coffee machine. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to go with the VT way of follicular being first. I personally it makes more sense in my life. So that's what I'm going to do. And you guys can do whatever you like. It doesn't matter really, because the phases are still in that order. So essentially we have follicular, then we have ovulation, which is when we're ovulating, and then we have luteal, and then we have menstrual, which is like when we're bleeding. And so for me, the easiest thing to do, one of the first things I do every month when I'm charting my, what I'm going to be doing, is I always ask myself, whenever I'm organizing or scheduling any event for my business or in my life even, I I always look to see where I'm going to be in my phase, most likely. Now, of course, we can't like plan it perfectly because things can change. You know, we can have a lot of stress and our periods can change, whatever. But yeah, I always look because obviously the wherever I am in that cycle could really determine how much I like doing the event. And there are actually studies now showing that professional athletes, professional women, or professional athletes in particular, do better when they're ovulating in competition than if they're on their menstrual cycle. And it's also because women have more testosterone in that time as well. So we have more we have more of that feeling of like go-getter, go do things, you know, go get it, sister, kind of that kind of thing. Whereas in our menstrual cycle, we're really supposed to be resting and relaxing and doing more like inner work. So essentially, the easiest thing, the first thing you can do for your business or for your life in general is to just say, okay, this time, during this phase, I am going to rest, right? During the menstrual cycle, and then plan your big events for the ovulatory and the first part of your luteal phase. Those are really the times that I like to have. Like, for example, in September, something special is coming out. I won't tell you what it is yet because we're not ready to release it, but that is when I'm ovulating. So that's an example of how a woman can use it, because I'm going to have so much energy. I'm going to have the energy to, if there's a problem, I'll be there to solve it, right? I'll have a lot more energy than if I were to do it when I'm menstruating. Now, for example, in my sanctuary, the course that I run for female entrepreneurs, by the way, if you're interested in that, the waitlist for January is starting now. You can check that out on my website. But for example, like we have 1 week off every month so that everyone can have a little bit of time to catch up on homework and just, you know, have more time and whatever. Well, actually that time, that week that we have a break is actually when I'm usually bleeding. I plan that out on purpose so that I'm off and I can relax a little bit and I don't have quite as much to do. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean like I stop working, right? I would love one day to be able to take 5 days off work. That'd be cool every month. But it does mean that I don't have as much, you know, I plan to not be working quite as much. I try and really prioritize, and here, by the way, some of the things you can do is you can really prioritize sleep around menstruation, like really get your 9 hours, get sometimes even 10 hours. I try to end work a little earlier than usual so that I can, you know, be like eating really well and just chilling at night. I usually will not go out, or if I do go out, it'll be like, I know it's going to be chill. Like, for example, you know, I went out last with, you know, just like 2 girlfriends and we had dinner. Like I had to eat anyway, right? And we were super close by. We walked to the restaurant. So it was like very like chill. It wasn't like a big deal. So that's a really, really cool thing to do as well. Just take your time during that period to rest, because that's what your body needs, right? It has very low hormones at that time. And again, I don't know all the hormonal stuff. By the way, you can check out Darcy Xoxo. She has some great information about this as well. But yeah, you can really just take that time to rest. Also, it's a really nice time. Like what I found is when I do rest during that period, I have some really great ideas come through for my business and I will just write them down. I don't feel the need to like start executing, but I write them down and then that's what I get working, you know, get into at the beginning of that follicular phase. Yeah. So once my period is over, once I'm done bleeding, then I go into that phase. And that's kind of like, so the follicular phase is like the planning time, is like the start to, you know, get a little social. Maybe you go see some friends, maybe you go on a date, but it's really the planning, like getting things prepared, meal prepping, that kind of feel is that time. Then the ovulatory is obviously like go, 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 get the stuff done. You have a lot of testosterone. It's a great time to be really social. Go out on dates because funny enough, research shows that women are actually more beautiful during that time, which is kind of hilarious. And incredible really that our species does that, but it's true. So during that time, go out, enjoy yourself, be social. And that's a really nice time. For example, for me, like I will usually plan most of my events in my business around that time. If I was leading a retreat, it would definitely be around that time. So stuff like that. And then, you know, we have our luteal phase, which is about 10 to 14 days, which is after ovulation. And that's when our hormones are starting to decrease. So that's when we want to be wrapping up, you know, projects. That's when we want to be like finishing things up or prepping things for, you know, for me during that time, I tend to do a little bit more admin work so that when I'm in my menstrual phase at the end, I don't have so much. It's a good time to be like looking at our schedule the month ahead and starting to plan as well. So I hope I explained that, but that's how I look at how to use your menstrual cycle to your advantage. And what starts to happen is when you really take the menstrual time to rest and do a lot of self-care and all that good stuff, you will actually find that your hormones are more balanced and you actually have more energy later in your cycle to get the things done that you want to get done, and to really create the things and to do all the things. And so it's really about, you know, taking this 28-day cycle and just taking advantage of it. You know, as a society, the world as a whole is on a 24-hour circadian rhythm. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great rhythm. It's been, you know, around for a long time, but that's actually more of a biological male clock, not a female clock. We're on a 28-day rhythm due to our cycles, and our hormonal fluctuations mean that, you know, we have different needs during those 28 days. So, and also, you know, during that menstrual time, it's usually like a lot of women call it like their cocoon, or they go into their cave, and they just kind of like chill and just like maybe do some art or, you know, just do like the little work things that they enjoy. But it really can be so major to just take a little break during that time. And by the way, that also goes for like hardcore working out. I'm not an expert in working out, so I'm not claiming to know anything here, but what I do know is that if we work out based on our menstrual cycle, we tend to have better results. And we tend to be able to sustain it longer as well, which is really cool. So anyway, that's my thing today. I really want to say this has had a huge impact on my business. It also has an impact on not needing to hustle so much because I'm taking advantage of my natural biological process and just going with it, right? Like, you know, really just, it's about embracing a woman and doing it the woman way and not needing to feel like you have to keep up with the rat race, so to speak, and compare yourself to other people. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we all go our own pace, and usually the turtle does win the race. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you have any more questions, this is kind of like crazy, weird concept. If you have any more questions or you want more resources, drop them in the comments below. I will definitely be checking them out, and I want to hear from you guys. And as you're implementing this, let me know how it goes, because it can be like really life-changing. All right, everyone. See ya.